Well, welcome everybody. This edition of the PHP Ladies newsletter, we're featuring the one, the only, the awesomeness, Jasmine Suazo. She leads the hierarchy of TWA alongside her husband, Ellis Suazo. Jazz, we're so excited to have you. How are you feeling right now?
I feel amazing. Thank you for having me. I'm super fired up.
You know, it's so crazy. So I remember me and Matt working with you guys in Oak Brook, and just kind of seeing you guys develop over time. And then you said one day, hey, we're going to go and open our office in Atlanta. I really want people to get a better understanding first of you and Ellis's background, what got you really into the business.
Yeah. So 7 years ago, I was working in corporate America as the Director of Development and Communications for Chicago's largest nonprofit. And at the time, it was my dream career. I had the cushy corner office. I loved my salary. I just was time broke. I was not able to spend as much time as I wanted with my husband, with our daughters. And it started to affect me, but I didn't really have an answer. I didn't have a way out. And I thought it was law school because, of course, when one degree doesn't solve your financial problems, we tend to go back to school and get another degree. So I was literally on my way to get my third degree. I was headed to law school when my husband came home, who was an engineer by trade, no experience in this industry, a complete greenie just like me, and said, babe, I think we should look into the insurance industry. He got into the company for 6 months. I was completely unsupportive. Sheena, you know the story. I am a product of Meet the Spouse. I am a true product of week one checklist. If you think it does not matter to take that 30-minute drive to go meet the spouse, I'm telling you it matters. Sheena Sapaula came to my home not one time, but 2 times. And the second time I was home, and I remember I had like my shower cap on. If you remember, Sheena, my conditioner was in my hair. And we sat on the living room couch, and I was just able to ask you guys, do you really think we can do this? And we don't know a lot of people, and we don't have any experience in this industry. All of the things that I think women tend to do is disqualify ourselves. And you very calmly, I remember, just overcame each objection, because it wasn't a rejection. It was an objection, like this indirect inquiry for more information. And so that happened in 2018, and my first introduction to the company, ironically, was Train the Trainers. That was my first event ever, and I'm so grateful it is because I love content, love information, and so it was like right up my alley. We came back from Train the Trainers in 2018, and I just remember asking you and Matt, what's next? What do we need to do? We're ready to run. And we officially began our marketing director run. In October of 2018, the Wealth Academy was born.
I love it. And by the way, the most pleasant couples to work with would be you and Ellis. I have just enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the time that we spent in Oak Brook, in my office, just talking and chatting up about what the future is and having our good laughs. You guys have always had courage, and you've always had a vision. So can you kind of talk about that? You guys first opened your own space right upstairs from me and Matt's office. And then from there, you had this vision of like, we need to go to Atlanta. Can you walk people through that?
Yeah, I think, just kudos to you and Matt too, because of the coaching. Sometimes I think when people see what they call a strong woman, they don't think that we ever like doubt ourselves or second guess ourselves. And I remember time after time needing to process with you, like, I don't know if I'm ready. Can I do this? This community of PHP ladies is so important because oftentimes you can't process bamboo with your friends and family members. They have no idea what bamboo is. You can't process Train the Trainer or closeout culture. They would look at you crazy. And so just having that accessibility gave us the courage, accessibility to coaching. So I wanted to mention that because that was everything. Yes, every time that we have decided to level up, whether it be getting our first office in Suite 375 in the same building, and then moving to Atlanta was a big one. I was reluctant at first. I thought my family is here. I have a nice home here. My daughters are, finishing high school. And so it was a bit disruptive. But if you know anything about God, that's typically what he is. So I started going back and forth from Chicago to Atlanta for 12 months. And then I realized that's not going to cut it. I have to full-time permanently be in the city of Atlanta. And so we made a decision that sounded crazy to many people at the time, but we sold our home and we moved into an apartment. And not just one apartment, but 2 apartments, because we were getting the city of Atlanta off the ground, but we still had our Oak Brook office. And so we had an apartment near Oak Brook and we had an apartment in the heart of Atlanta. And it took a lot, that's when husband and wife comes together with one vision and on one accord, they're willing to pay the same price. They're willing to sacrifice because the vision is that real for both of them. It was probably the best thing we could have done. I was here in shared spaces in Atlanta, Sheena, with no office. I didn't know anybody. I knew nobody when I came here. And I remember our very first BOM consisted of maybe like 5 or 6 people. 3 of them, maybe I met at like a gas station. One of them was one of our agents' husbands who was like in town visiting family, just trying to get people in the room. And from there, we went to the Gathering Spot, which is here in Atlanta. It's like a entrepreneurial hub. And I started renting out one of their smallest room that could accommodate 8 people comfortably. And when we had standing room consistently in that room, we went to the next room that could accommodate 40 people seated. And then when we went to standing room only in that space, we knew it was time to open up our own office. What people are seeing now with the Wealth Academy, I always want to just be clear, it's a 2-year, it's a 24-month grind of me and Ellis joining community organizations. We're probably a part of 4 different Chamber of Commerce. I sit on the board of 3 organizations here. I spearhead 2 life groups in my local church here. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's not just, us performing. It's just been 24 months of being willing to do the work, even without the accolades, and just holding firm to that vision of one day this will pay off and we will have an office in Atlanta.
And here it
that's
is.
kind of, yeah.
By the way, crossed over $500,000 on your way to the council category. You guys had 156 butts and seats in your base shop, 400 in your entire team. So you're absolutely right. You see Suazo's name on the leaderboards right now, but what people need to understand is you have delayed gratification. You had to see something that wasn't visibly there yet. And now it's starting to come to fruition because you completely surrendered and just stuck it out. So I'm so excited and proud for you guys. And it being Black History Month, what I really did like what you did, like legit was like so cool. So Alonzo Herndon, most people don't know who he is, but can you just tell everybody, all the ladies, and by the way, if you can go ahead and comment below on your takeaways just so far and let us know where you're watching this from. But Jazz, tell us what you did with that event, because that was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, so one of the things we did is actually surprised a group of our brokers, and we took them to the first ever millionaire, African-American millionaire in the city of Atlanta. His home is still here in the city of Atlanta today. And ironically, he became a millionaire through the life insurance industry. Alonzo Herndon, born in the 1800s, he was born a slave, and he moved from Royal, Georgia in the late 1800s to the city of Atlanta with $11 in his pocket. He picked up a trade. He learned how to cut hair, and he became really good. He opened up a barbershop. But at the time, it was not common, nor was it accepted for Black men to be business owners. And so he would walk through the back door of his own barbershop every day so that no one would know that he was the owner. And he served the elite. So the politicians, the entertainers, whenever someone of affluence would come into town, they would go to Alonzo Herndon's barbershop, also known as the Crystal Palace. So how he got into insurance was he ended up saving all of this money. A company approaches him and says, hey, would you like to buy a burial fund association? And he says yes. He ended up buying a burial fund association for $160, turned that into a multi-million dollar enterprise known as Atlanta Life Insurance. He was a huge financial backing for the civil rights movement. A lot of Black people who were being killed and in those days did not have the money to pay for their funerals. Well, Alonzo Herndon, a man born a slave in the life insurance industry, was funding all of their funerals. He actually wrote the life insurance policy for the late great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And so to be able to have our agents visit his home and actually sit in his kitchen and sit in his living room and hear his stories and just be a part of that legacy. But I think probably the cherry on top, Sheena, was everyone had a chance to hold Martin Luther King Jr.'s life insurance policy. And so it was just absolutely amazing to see what a Black man did at a time where it was unheard of for Black men to be business owners, let alone be wealthy. And he defied the odds that I think makes it possible for all of us today to succeed and to break barriers and to redefine what it means to be an entrepreneur in America today. And so, yeah, that's the story of Alonzo Herndon, born a slave, Georgia's first Black millionaire through life insurance.
I love that you got to tell that story. I hope everybody hears that story. And I want to end with this because I love it when you talk about your mom, although I do think she's your sister with how she looks, okay? And I really see it, transcending into TWA Ladies. And can you kind of go into that? I really want to know more about how her influence has made you really shape TWA Ladies.
Yeah, my mom, she has such a quiet strength to her. I would watch her. It gets me emotional, so I'm not going to cry. I don't know why you bring up my mom.
She's awesome.
But I remember watching her growing up. She would wake up every day at 5 a.m, never complained. She started out as a secretary at Social Security Administration and worked her way up for 34 years. By the time she retired, she was the deputy director for the entire Social Security Administration operations. Never was able to make it to college because she was busy working her way up the corporate ladder, putting my brothers and I through school. And I just never forget her strength, her grace, her dedication, her leadership, her poise. And so this is why I always talk about her, because she modeled before me what it means to be a friend, what it means to be a leader, what it means to be a woman in business, what it means to be a mother, what it means to, I never watched her. Sometimes we see these stories where women kind of sacrifice themselves for the betterment of their family, but that wasn't her story. Like, she had this beautiful dance with still enjoying life, but also being about her business. My parents were not these they don't showboat. They're just really, quiet, but they've always been good stewards over their resources. They've always honored God, and they've just been incredible examples. And so I tend to borrow a lot of that to create an atmosphere where women feel seen, they feel loved, they feel validated. I think the biggest thing for me is I get really irritated when strong women are called emotional or aggressive or mean, because I have watched men exhibit the exact same attributes and be called confident and competitive and bold and courageous and assertive. And so something that's been incredibly important to me is to provide an example where women can be all of the above and they can still feel accepted and seen and be feminine, but also be fierce, and be competitive, but also be compassionate. And so yes, a lot of that, the foundation is from my mom, but I pull from women who I admire all the time.
And by the way, I see so much of your mom in you. I mean, talk about a silent strength. Yeah, that's you. Now, I want to end with this. Ladies on the call, I hope that you guys make it a point to say, how can I get on a PHP Ladies newsletter? We want to hear your story. Today, we got to hear an incredible story from the leader of TWA. Jasmine Suazo. And hailing from Atlanta, Georgia, if you know anybody in the area, just know that office is booming. Can't wait to see where this is going. So with that being said, guys, have an incredible rest of your day. Let's close out strong for February. Look forward to the next round of ladies that we get to meet.